Yo, what's up? So I'm home and we can watch some content. So I was asking this YouTuber Whirls to play some ELC with the 90mm. You know, this guy only plays light tanks, and I was like, yeah, he's the most traditional light tank player on YouTube, who specifically only makes contents about that tank class, right? And we all know this tank. It's super unconventional when it comes to light tank gameplay. And that's why I wanted a traditional light tank player to play it. See how that works out. There was no one else that I could really ask about it. You know what I mean? Because how many people are there that specifically focus on traditional light tank gameplay? Like it's Worlds and that's it, right? But he was a champ about it. He was super nice, super kind, gave us the content, even gave a follow-up with the 75mm so we can compare the two things. More or less half decently, exactly what I expected to happen, you know. I did take a brief look into it. And there's a lot that we can learn, i.e. that I can explain and you guys learn. With that being said, let's get into the videos. Although, before we can even do that, there's one thing that we have to keep in mind, okay? So my man was obviously playing with the 90mm after I requested it. However, the ELC, for being a special light tank like that, first requires that you have to check out the settings, which is not something that Worlds is going to do. So, how many light tanks are there with a non-fully traversable turret? One that plays more like a tank destroyer. Exactly one, and that's this one, right? So, when we want to play the ELC, going into the battle with vanilla settings that are tailor-made for tanks with turret is already a bad idea, right? First and foremost, you have to disable this one. This will make it so that in sniper mode you can't turn your tank outside of your turret traverse, and it's going to fuck with you once you have to manually adjust your tank's position in order to shoot people. Second of all of the weird shaking effects and visual effects that you can enable for sniper mode, they will only distract you from what's happening in the battle, and they will most likely just increase your tunnel vision. It's super distracting. You have to turn all of that shit off, right? Next up, you absolutely have to turn off encounter and assault battle modes because of the base positions. The way bases are located in these modes is awful. Furthermore, assault mode reduces the battle timer to 10 minutes, and that is not enough time to late game carry, which is exactly what you want to do in the ELC. The ELC is a pure late game carry machine. Almost. I mean, it's obviously also really strong in early game and everything, but in the cases where you do have to late game carry, you're really good and reliable at pulling off damage, and so less battle timer for your shit DPM, bad. Next up, we're going to controls, and we have to greatly reduce the sniper, that there's aiming sensitivity in sniper mode, right? You have 0.23 base dispersion values on turret traverse, and if you don't have low mouse sensitivity in sniper aim, it's going to absolutely annihilate your aim almost every single time. So usually when I see people with absolutely garbage aim, it's usually because of this. Because the default is like somewhere over here, and that's just not going to cut it. Next up, ban maps that are obviously complete garbage for the ELC, whatever you dislike the most amongst the trashy maps. But usually the favorites here are obviously ends. I mean, this is an auto ban, and then it's like whatever you have in the map rotation the most currently. Next up, mindset. Yeah, sorry, we can't start this quite yet. Mindset, okay. Getting better at the game, like in general, not even talking just about the ELC, is mostly about understanding what you're aiming for. And I always say the only thing you care about is doing damage, because doing damage in this game is the absolute base fundamental. Obviously, purely playing the scouting role is in World's case down to preference. He stated this many times. However, even if that's your preference, every now and again, just switching up your mindset and saying, okay, I want to do damage because I care about improving. Even if you purely play for scouting, right? You need this mindset specifically that you are going after damage in order to become a better player. And the reason I'm saying this is because you could basically queue up those principles in values, i.e. in a pyramid scheme, with doing damage being all the way at the top and then scouting being a level below that. Because doing damage essentially has an influence over every other principle in this game, right? Because everything works with damage if you think about it. Your tanks have hit points, it's an arcade shooter, and the only way to get rid of your opponents is by doing damage, i.e. either by doing damage yourself or by enabling your allies to do damage against opponents. However, I'd argue that doing damage instead of scouting is just more satisfying, because you might think to yourself, I don't care about all of that shit because I'm a casual player. But even a casual player is glad whenever he gets an ace tanker. Even a casual player is happy and satisfied in case they break a new damage record. So just by the pure fact alone that doing damage is fun and satisfying, and it's fun and satisfying to see good results, it automatically means that even casual players care about this shit, right? It is the absolute top fundamental of this game. The absolute top fundamental. And everything else comes afterwards. Right? Doing damage is what you're being rewarded for. You're not being rewarded for spotting. Statistics matter even for casual players, and it's so stupid to say that it doesn't, right? Even win rate. Win rate is another fundamental, and it's also not the top fundamental. That also comes after doing damage. So yeah, we care about doing damage. We care about doing damage because it helps us improve at the game. It helps us. It even helps us improving our spotting game, our spotting skills, our scouting skills. So yeah, let's get into this.
I really just didn't find this thing to be all that fun. It's good. It's a good tank. The 90mm, I would argue, is actually the better gun option. Because what you have, right, is you have the 75, but it has less pen. You can rotate the turret all the way, but it does less damage, less pen, and it's actually less accurate, though the aiming time is much lower. The 90mm is good, it's just the only thing is the aiming time is really high, so when you're trying to take shots, it feels like you're sitting there for like a decade waiting for the tank. Like,
you don't aim in this tank. You just don't aim in this tank. The way doing damage with the 90mm works is players that play a lot with that gun, they will eventually develop a habit where it's a case of you drive into your preferred position instantly and you position your tank the way it's facing. You're instantly facing towards the direction where you expect, i.e. where you know that enemies are going to pop up. Which means that in most cases you're going to be aimed in before you even spot anyone. Right? And this is the kicker right here. Because Whirls is essentially used to traditional scouting role. To traditional light tanks. Which means that I can bet my ass with you guys that he is not going to do that. He isn't actually going to ever look into the direction where he's expecting someone to be spotted. I.e. pre-aiming. And I don't just mean pre-aiming in a sense of pre-aiming on a moving target. No, I'm talking about pre-aiming before anyone even gets spotted. Furthermore, turret locking. Lock your turret. You have to lock your turret. The only thing that's really killing your aim on the ELC with the 19mm is the 0.23 dispersion value on turret traverse. which means that this can overlap with other dispersion values, with your dispersion value on tank traverse, with your dispersion value while moving. It can overlap. So you want to lock your turret in order to put essentially one dispersion value out of the question. And you're only going to unlock your turret once you're actually stopping and aiming on someone. I do this all the time, and it's immensely useful in order to get proper aim and shots on people. The thing where the thing that Kaizo does all the time, where he auto aims on people before he even goes into sniper aim, also very useful on every tank in the game, on the ELC also, but you have to be way more careful with that. Like you don't wanna auto aim on someone that isn't actually within your turret traverse.
You know, it just feels so awkward to me, and that's why I prefer to mark it with the 75mm.
The only reason it's awkward to you is because all of those small things are not yet something that you are aware. And all of those small things are something that you have to get the hang of, right? The ELC is, with the 90mm, only awkward until you get a grip of all of the small, minor things that you have to do in order to manage this tank.
A lot of players will play it with the 90. In fact, a lot of times I will see people in games with the ELC BIS 3 marked with the 90mm, and it's just, some people have their quirks, man. Like, I like the Covenanter, nobody plays it.
This is also the reason, by the way, why the ELC doesn't in the slightest compare to casemate tank destroyers. Not in the slightest, because you have a semi-turret. I always differentiate a semi-turret with a gun that's fixed to the superstructure. It's just not the same. It really isn't.
I'm averaging 969 damage. I played
900,
like 4 or 5 of these battles with the smaller gun, and then switched over to the 90mm.
So it could have been over 1,000 if you had just stuck around with the 90mm.
And I actually find that you can do a lot more damage, generally speaking, with the 90mm. It's just, it requires a slightly different play style, right? So that's why I'm not really a fan of it. But look at the Covenanter. I do 651 in this. I have 1,027 average damage in the Covenanter, and look at the win rate difference, you know? So if you guys can see,
I mean, the enjoyment obviously matters. If you just enjoy one tank more than the other, you're just going to perform better with it.
This tank, I will say, these 170 battles that you see at 651 damage, I think were almost all played with the smaller gun. So overall, it's like, it really just depends on how you want to play the vehicle and how you want to set it up. I find
the 75mm is so unbelievably garbage for damage. It's not even funny anymore, to be honest. It's not even funny anymore. And the reason is very simple, okay? The reason why the 75mm is so garbage for doing damage is because it doesn't work on the chassis of the ELC. Tanks with unique guns, right? The ELC's 90mm is entirely unique to the ELC. The Covenanter's pom-pom gun is entirely unique to the Covenanter and the Cruiser 2. Or the Cruiser 3 or whatever the fuck it's called, I don't know. The tier 4, the one in front of the Covenanter. And the Leo's autoloader is entirely unique to the Leo and the Lux. And the reason those guns are unique to those tanks is because Wargaming knows exactly, they know exactly that those unique guns only work on the tanks they are given to. They made this entirely on purpose. Otherwise you would have situations like the Russian 122 that's basically on every fucking Russian mid-tier tank. Russian tier 7, 8, and 6 tank. Right? Otherwise you would have situations like that. Otherwise you would have situations like the German 75mm, the medium tank gun. That's on every fucking German medium tank ever. Right? You know what I mean? Which is to say that this gun works on the ELC because it's on the fucking ELC. Because it's tailor-made for this fucking tank. And the 75mm just doesn't work on it. At all. You have a tank essentially that's perfect for late game carrying against targets with not so good view range at longer distances. And the 75mm doesn't work on longer distances. Congratulations. You're fucking playing yourself when it comes to doing damage. And that's why I don't understand how people can enjoy this. I mean, that's why I understand that that's what traditional light tank players do, because they are essentially putting themselves into positions on purpose where they are having to rely on teammates. Which is like, the ELC doesn't want to rely on teammates at all, in the slightest. You never want to rely on teammates. I fucking hate relying on teammates. It's so cancerous.
Find that the 90...
And you will find yourself in situations where, like, yeah, this is cancerous because I have to rely on teammates that essentially don't do shit at all.
millimeter makes me feel like I'm on crutches. You know, that's just how it feels to me. It just feels really awkward, really slow aiming time.
This is something that I find very interesting, that statement, where Whirls is like he's handicapping himself with this gun. Which is essentially the entire existence of the 75mm. You're literally handicapping yourself by relying on your teammates.
But the HE does hit pretty hard, and when you're in certain situations, it's really going to pay off to be running this gun. The main situation where that pays off is when you can only take one shot and then have to pull back down. So you kind of almost play this thing like a tank destroyer, right? And that's just...
The 90mm is very healthy for that reason. Essentially what you're doing in between reloads is relocating, which is a super healthy habit to get into. It's amazing. It's amazing how much that pays off even for higher tiers. Getting into the mindset that you're just going to relocate all the time. Because you don't want to be predictable. You never want to be predictable. It's such a bad habit to be predictable, to stick around in one position for extensive periods of time.
That's why when I 3-marked it, I preferred to do it with the 75 because the 75 is much more versatile. And if you get into
No, it's not. How is it versatile? How is it versatile?
A situation where you're going one-on-one with someone and you're trying to like run around them, it's going to suck to have the 90mm, right?
No. So the way the 90mm works at close ranges is that you're just going to pick your fights well. If you are fighting a light tank or an enemy light tank or an enemy tank that's way more mobile than you or has enough traverse than you with the 90mm and you're not in a position where you can one-shot them, then you're just literally misplaying. Either you're misplaying or you're getting outplayed. You just don't do that. Like, this is something that I don't understand how people can talk about this when it's just so obvious that is just some misplay that you're doing. Or that you're getting outplayed. Like, yeah, sure, the 90mm isn't good for those situations, which is why I want to avoid those situations. And it also tries to paint the picture that this is a good gun for those situations when it's not. This is still, I mean, yeah, in theory, it's a better gun for those kind of situations. But it's still shit. It's still shit. It's better than the 90mm, but that's not fucking difficult to pull off for any other light tank. Being better than a 90mm in specific situations like that. This is still a garbage gun fighting other light tanks. You're not going to win with this. This gun is so unbelievably inaccurate with the dispersion values that you're getting that unless you decide to use third steps with the 75mm, you're also going to be extremely unreliable in close range engagements. You're going to fail to pen a lot of targets too. So what is all of that essentially going to do for you? You're still shit in close range engagements.
You can do it against slower tanks, but it's just really awkward, man. And it's just why most people prefer the conventional way. Now, this guy specifically wants me to play with the 90mm, so that's what we're going to play with. But the way I marked this thing was actually by running optics, binocs, and low noise exhaust.
Optics binos combination. He's running the exact same setup that I'm using in order to free mark the ELC without shooting at all. So yeah, this is an account that I made just to free mark this without any ammo. And I'm using binos, optics, and low noise. And with this, I'm currently sitting on 46 battles, 63% win rate. This is something that I did accidentally because someone rammed me, but I'm still on 0 average damage to enemy vehicles. And I'm sitting on 81% mark. So, this is so hilarious. I didn't even realize that this is the case, like, first time skipping through the video.
Played it very sneaky and got like right next to enemies to spot them rather than...
You want to play very sneaky and get right next to enemies while also shooting them. That is the art of the ELC. You can play very aggressive positions, even doing damage yourself if you know how to use foliage properly.
Doing damage. But again, I think if you run the 90mm, it's easier to do damage. So I hope all this... I know this is a really long intro, guys, but I want to explain...
Not as long as my intros.
And with this 90mm, now I'm running it with the V-Stab and the Rammer instead.
I really like the setup. This is a really, really funny setup. Even the word step directive, by the way. The word step directive is without a doubt the best directive on ELC.
And this directive. So we're going to play. I'm going to reset the score here. And we'll see how we do, man. Again, I really just think it comes down to play style, man. Like, if you want to be a little more aggressive and do damage, I think this is actually the better gun choice. I really do. I think overall, like, if you know how to play this vehicle, the 90mm is going to pay off more because you can...
And this is a statement that we're gonna keep in mind, okay?
Do a lot more
that's a good statement.
Damage because even without
only I'm picking the statement that I agree with.
So what I'm gonna do is probably just come over to... I was thinking about going to like this bush right up here.
Yeah, you're gonna play the map wrong. You want to go to the center. Center's so broken with this gun. Again, what you want to do is just keep your tank facing into the direction where you expect people to pop up. And there's always someone driving down here, running down here. So you're just popping up here, take a shot, and then you rinse repeat all the time. Because from here, no one's going to spot you popping up. Like the second you get center control, the battle is over.
But with this gun, I'm actually going to stay back. And again, the aiming time, guys. Like, the aiming time is just... This is only...
There's so many ways to counteract your long aiming time. That's what I mean. This is also like in our community, in our niche community, on my Discord server, within my circle of friends, we have a meme called word step supremacy. Basically, word step supremacy is a meme that we use every single time we just hit shots without aiming. Because aiming is so unbelievably overrated on the ELC, if you know how to counteract it to a certain degree. And this is also why people think the ELC is so frustrating to play, when it really isn't. Because they're wasting time aiming and then they're not hitting. Which is like, yeah, the ELC is gonna miss a lot of shots, for sure. It's going to troll you a lot, for sure. But it's just a case of, the more you aim before missing a shot, the more frustrated you're going to be. Only ever fully aim if you know for sure that you have enough time to fully aim.
Thing I don't like about this thing, man. You know, you spend 5 seconds aiming the shot, you shoot, you ricochet, you hit the track, you know, whatever, and then you have to spend another 12 seconds to reload.
Which is why we don't do that.
And this is just, again, it's a preference thing, man. But I found my fist about to go through my desk, missing like 2 shots in a row with this thing because it's just kind of set up. Ricochet on the Matilda. Instead, we have 0.
This position is so bad. Yeah, you want to leave this position as quickly as possible. ELC is very much so about early advantages, reaping early advantages, getting early advantages, annihilating the team before the enemy team before they even get to do anything. Going here would have granted you a shot on the ass of the Panzer V4.
And if we're running
which is the main target that you care about in this battle.
the other gun, what will we have right now? Could have had a few shots of damage, man. So
yeah, let's see how much more time he's going to waste up here. Because all we're doing right now is wasting time. Yeah, you don't want to come up here. This is a really bad position.
cool. Okay.
Yeah, so we spend about almost a minute and a half to 2 minutes doing nothing.
What's kind of cool about this spot is you can dive into the water and just come.
And trust me, for a tank like the ELC, this is enough time wasted to where the opponents could have gotten a lead, i.e. an advantage big enough to completely dominate this battle. Like you might not even be able to come back from this anymore.
Like on the other side.
Because now we have a lot of things going on. A, the BDR's almost definitely gonna win this flank against a fucking M10 and a Matilda, because he completely outrates both of them. B, the Panzer 5-4 is in a position to where he just shits on all of those guys around here. C, we have no center control anymore, basically. They already won this flank. No. Even faster than I anticipated. So this is going to be really difficult to come back from.
I don't want to leave these guys blind either, but I think
it's too late. It's too late. You want to be sitting up here while they're driving into your base. You want to be here while they're approaching your base.
Am I lit here? I think so.
Yeah, here's where I would intuition HE, but he doesn't have intuition.
And I think with the way the matchmaking works, it's also better to run the 90 because you can do, like I said, I found that I did more damage with the 90mm overall, but it could have also been the way I played it. But I think
yeah, which is exactly what we care about. It's doing damage.
I think it's easier to dish out more damage quicker, right? So like if you have one of those 4-minute games,
people are getting WoT by DPM, where it's like. I'm always saying, yeah, but don't get WoT by DPM. The gun is obviously made for the ELC, so it's way better at putting out the actual DPM that you have than the 75mm, which has better DPM, but it's impossible to put out the shots, so the DPM doesn't really mean shit in that case.
The shell velocity is also really good, I noticed on this thing.
Yeah, the shell velocity is one reason. One reason why the 75mm DPM doesn't work. Because you can't snipe shit. You have bad pen to begin with. You have less accuracy to begin with. And now you add to this fact that you have way worse shell velocity, which means that you also can't snipe as consistently. And now you have a gun that with the combination of the dispersion values is completely incapable of really doing any damage. Yeah, something is off with your settings, and it's making your ELC very awkward. You have to check out those settings right here and see which one it is. Like, it's one of those settings. It could be dynamic camera that's fucking with you. It could be this one that's annihilating the fact that you have to constantly manually turn your tank. It's something within those settings that's making it so that you can't aim properly. The first thing you have to do is figure this out before you can play the ELC.
Yeah. Okay, we probably could have gotten one more on the Panzer maybe, but I didn't see any way to win this one. So 955 damage, 945. It's just not a bad game, man. Not a bad game at all. It's just at the very beginning, you guys are seeing like why I don't like this gun, man. It's just like you sit there and it's like you turn the tank and it's like aiming.
Okay, I'm gonna play a battle. And we're gonna see how many shots I actually aim. And do keep in mind, I only aim shots where I know for sure that I can aim it. Wow, I could have actually gotten the... My aim was awful, but you know what? I don't care. Decent. Decent. I will take it. None of the TDs are spotted, so you know how it is. What? You know what? I will take it. Yeah, our scout is in the center. There we go, there's the scout. So look what I do against this guy, okay? The way I'm gonna... Never mind. I was lying. I'm not gonna play against this. I don't mind trading. I will always take the trades, to be honest. Go. Of course. But it's fine. Yeah, I know my hit points, I know how I can trade, I know what shots I can take. That's all that really matters. So the Wolverine could have high rolled, which is exactly why I aimed for as long as he didn't take the shot. You know what I mean? This guy reloads really fast, like the, yeah. Look at that, the A20 was using the autoloader. The A20 actually has insane DPM with the autoloader. So yeah, second battle today. Second battle today. But yeah, the entirety of that battle was more or less just the trading shots. Right. That's just the nature of Outposts. You're mostly just going to trade shots with people. In the late game at least. Which is why you want to take all of your HP to the late game. You don't want to take shots early.
Aiming. Aiming. And then you shoot and you hit the track.
Yeah, just don't aim then. Like, if you don't like aiming in the ELC, don't aim. Just don't aim. Easy fix. Easy fix. Just don't aim your shots.
It's just like, it's just the most freaking frustrating thing I've ever had to deal with in my life, man.
You don't have to deal with it then. Just don't deal with it.
You know. But
a lot of it is also positioning. Like, I realize that positioning is very, very subpar. Again, you're looking for damage.
it makes me feel, again, like I'm doing daily tasks with crutches or with like one leg, hopping around on one leg, or with...
But you're handicapping yourself in a lot of ways. Starting with the settings, obviously, then the positioning.
one hand behind my back, you know. That's how it feels to me. Like, I feel like I'm going...
Also, don't go around thinking that you're a triangle. In this case, Elaluf, you don't want to drive into the slaughter pit early. I mentioned this in a lot of my videos where scenes of Elaluf played out, and I was talking about this being essentially a slaughter pit. You don't drive in here early. Other than that, you also don't want to camp too far back. Like, this is the sweet spot right here.
Around
on the other spawn, you just go straight up here because this is easily to abuse. Yeah, the ELC is a lot about positions that you can easily abuse with it. there are many positions that you can abuse and that you absolutely want to abuse. Yeah, this is the Leslav position. So Leslav is a player with over 25,000. He should be close to 30,000 battles by now. Every time he's on your enemy team when you're playing ELC and he knows that you're a good ELC player, what he does is camp in the furthest spot back of the map. But those positions are also pretty bad, so this is not a good position.
I saw another player. I saw another...
Like, he will spot us when we abuse this position over here, but he can't capitalize on it because he would still have to blind shoot us. Like, we take shots and then we drive back to be safe, and
AMX
doesn't
ELC
work.
BIS player come to here, and I actually outspotted him from this bush over here.
Yeah, true. Like, you can't play this. This is pretty bad.
Yeah, this is why I don't go down here. Look at this.
Yeah, you also don't go down here because it's a slaughter pit. So the rules for the slaughter pit are you don't drive into the slaughter pit for as long as you have the enemy light spotted. And as long as you don't have information on their triangles. But it's also really easy to get information on triangles and light tanks. So this is a play that you can make once you have calculated that it's actually going to work out for you.
Look at this. This is why I don't go down here, especially in lower tiers, man. Look at this. What do we shoot at? The Hetzer probably. It's the easiest target. It's not moving. Will. Beautiful.
You still got spotted.
So sniping,
that is so funny.
This thing, that's what makes it pretty good, man. It's like, it really, you have to play it like a tank destroyer, or you're...
The problem I have with this statement is that people will think that when you say you have to play it like a tank destroyer, it means the noob way of playing a tank destroyer by camping in positions the entire game. Which is, yeah, it plays like a tank destroyer, but like a good tank destroyer that actually knows proper positioning. For me, when I say I'm going to play a tank like a tank destroyer, it means that I am aware of good positions, which is what the majority of people just simply aren't.
You're not going to like play it successfully like this.
This is also not good tank destroyer gameplay right now. Yeah, you got the shot on the Hetzer, but now I want to see how many shots you're going to get from here on out.
I'm going to come back to here. It's the only place that I know that I can retreat to, for sure. Actually, this is a weird game, man. We lost so much here. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do with this.
You can just go here and absolutely annihilate all of these people over here. Like, what's stopping you from taking this position and preventing them from playing this? Because the thing is, you always have to consider once someone is in here, people up here can't do shit about it. They can't do anything about this. The only person that can do something about this is someone who has got flanking shots into this position. And this is why this is... By the way, you always have to think about certain things, okay? In this case, why do these small pillars inside of the slaughter pit exist? Why do these small pillars exist? Because Wargaming was thinking at one point that there has to be a counterplay to people sitting beneath camping triangles, gun shooting lines. You know what I mean? Again, I suck at explaining, but I think the idea is pretty obvious, right? No one's over here to shoot you in a case where you are falling back behind the small pillar. You might not even get spotted at all from here, so why not play this? Why not play this?
Okay, 272 is a good roll. Now, I feel like an amateur.
There's so many opportunities. Like, you could even just annihilate this Wolverine and then just go from there, to be honest. Yeah, very weird. Shouldn't even be stuck here. This is so easy to carry.
This game, I don't know what's going on, what I'm doing.
You always have to consider that there's nothing that can really play against you. Like, you have an advantage on all of these people. Just courtesy of the ELC's broken camo rating stat. And the fact that you're never gonna be spotted first.
Doing with this. Oh, he missed, dude. This is bad for me.
No, it's not, because now you get more damage.
Poke on him, like, right here. I'm so bad at playing this thing, man, with this gun. It's just, like, so weird, guys. It really is, man. Like, if I played it enough, I feel like I would get a lot better at it, but It just feels so awkward to me. I don't want to get hit by Arda here. Yeah, I'm trying to be really careful. Okay.
So yeah, this is the thing though, right? With the 75mm, you would have traded shot for shot on this guy, so you would have lost way more HP here. Now you took one shot and annihilated him for 470 damage, by the way. 470 damage is at least 5 shots. 5 shots with the 75mm before you get rid of this guy. So how bad is it? Like, even in specific situations. And do keep in mind, again, this is close range, by the way. Close range, where people are claiming the 75mm is supposed to be better. Again, ultra specific statement, where it doesn't even matter, because the 90mm makes up in completely different situations.
I'm gonna come all the way down and around and go for Arta. Here's the story. Also, if I had intuition, I'd probably be loading the HEs right now. Just to note that, guys.
Don't ever auto aim. Ever. Like, the second you are in sniper in sniper aim, the second you are in sniper aim, you no longer auto aim. You only auto aim as long as you're outside of sniper aim.
Yeah, the problem with this gun is that it's not snappy, you know?
Wrong. This gun is fucking fantastic for snapping shots, actually. Like, if you watch any of my compilations, you would see that this gun is fantastic for snapping shots. Hashtag word step supremacy.
Like, you can't do that, like, auto-lock and shoot crap with it.
I'd argue that the reason it feels less snappy is especially because of server reticle. I no longer think that server reticle is any good for the 90mm. It makes it way less snappy, in my opinion.
Especially because the turret can't rotate. Oh, this guy is actually still alive. I thought he'd be dead. But yeah, you can't.
You auto aim in close ranges when you're assassinating people, and you know for sure that what you're auto aiming at is something that you're guaranteed to ban.
Do that with this tank, man, and I have a tendency to do that.
I.e. assassinating shit.
Because with a turret, I think it's a little bit different. Just go after this.
There's no need to go after this. Like, the steward is incapable of hurting any of your people. You definitely want to deal with Dardy now, because this is where the most damage is located. The easiest and most damage is located. You want to get into the damage mindset. This is no damage, so let your team deal with it.
This is when you have to go into shotgun mode. You just come right up like this. And they end up killing him.
Yeah, I would just shoot on a move, by the way. Just for extra style points. What are you afraid of?
But yeah, it's not snappy, man.
You shouldn't be afraid of taking shots like this, even if he has a derp gun. Very unlikely he's gonna hit you.
It's just not a snappy gun. You can't do that, like...
And more damage loss.
Auto-lock crap with it, like I do with the Russian tanks. Probably won't even get this shot. Okay. 205. In the face, 947 damage, 3 kills, 114 assists. So, like, it works, man. Like, it can work, right? I don't think we're playing it that bad, man.
It works. And you have to imagine that he's playing extremely suboptimally. With handicapped settings. Without knowing proper positioning. Which is all things, you know, that's fine. What I'm saying is that this is fine. This is perfectly fine. Those are good results for someone who A, isn't even motivated to learn about the tank, and B, is in his habits, in his own habits, has formed his own habits regarding traditional light tanks, right? So overall, extremely suboptimally and still pulling shit with the ELC. With a vanilla setup, without spamming gold, without having a cracked crew, without having intuition, all of that shit. Handicapped settings, vanilla as fuck setup, wrong habits that are good for the things that Worlds likes doing, but bad for the ELC. And he's still making it work. So how bad is this tank really? again, I swear to God, the only reason it even feels awkward is because of the things you have to consider doing for your ELC first. It's so funny how the ELC starts popping off the second you start investing more time into this game. Time figuring the thing out. That makes it so much better, in my opinion. You can't just instantly hop into it and annihilate everything with your godlike camera rating. Yeah. Honestly, this just proves my point even further. And you can still dislike the tank after doing all of those things, you know? But how likely are you to actually disliking this tank once you have invested enough time to learn about it?
I think in the first game we kind of could have gotten one more shot of damage.
You could have gotten several more shots of damage. Like several. I know it's difficult to implement all of those things once the battle starts. But like after rewatching the footage, just rewatch the footage and see how good was your positioning really. How many more shots could you have gotten in? I played a Battle of Karelia, did 1,700 damage. I did get unlucky, but could have gotten so much more. And you know, shit RNG happens. Happens to every tank. I have an hour and 30 minutes of footage. Should I play one more? Should I play one more? I wanna play one more, okay? One quick one. One quickie. Ooh, Morovenka. Good one, good one. I like this. How many lights? 2. Perfectly doable. This is really good matchmaking. Look at this early positioning, by the way. Early positioning, by the way. See the setting that I turned off. The thing where it hull locks you in sniper mode. It actually saved my shot there. Me specifically turning that off actually saved my shot there. It's so important to do these small things. Because you can't always micromanage your... You can't always micromanage your turret reverse perfectly. So why not rely on that setting? If it already exists for that specific purpose, right? So yeah, we effortlessly won that flank. And now we're just hoping that our team doesn't absolutely dominate. And I got spotted. Interesting. Yo, what the fuck? That's one way to get rid of a fucking P-34. Yeah, we wanna play aggressively now. This enemy team is falling apart. Oh, it's a bot. He auto aims on the Leo because the Leo is closest to him, by the way. Tracking. Nice. So yeah, bots always auto-aim on the closest target. Yeah, we don't wanna get shot here. Because we don't wanna lose our opportunity to do more damage, right? Don't aim this one. Don't wanna risk anything. Oh my god. Do you guys see what I see? He's not moving, so I will just shoot him. Nice. Yeah, I can auto aim because I know that I can easily pen him. Don't ever go around thinking that the guys have armor when they don't. Oh yeah, this is why we don't auto aim, okay? This is... I got into the habit of doing stupid things that we shouldn't do, and this is what I get. We will auto aim again though, just to make sure that we always sit while auto aiming, and now I wanna get close because I want easier shots. And I might not get any damage because of it, but he's falling back into the low ground, so I think I can get another shot in. Here we go. Good, good, good. So yeah, could have been even more damage if I hadn't auto-aimed. So yeah, don't auto-aim. Moral of the story. See, I specifically did those things to show you that they are mistakes, okay? I specifically did those things so you can see that you shouldn't do it. Even if it's theoretic. Oh, I hit some blind shots. Jesus Christ. Also, take every single shot, okay? Every single shot, including blind shots. Even shots where you are like, yeah, I would never hit those. If you do though, then it's even more extra style points. You know what I mean? Moral of the story. just listen to your boy, okay? Yeah, no, I don't want to be obnoxious about it, okay? But I think you get the point. So the question is, okay? The question is, World said it himself. All you have to do is learn about it. So my question to you guys is, do you want to have fun? Or do you not want to have fun? Keep all of those things in mind, right? So thank you so much to my brother Whirls, obviously. I really like him. My brethren really like him. We all accepted him. Even though he's using the small gun, which we usually discriminate against heavily. I really like his content. I even referenced, by the way, Worlds, if you don't notice, I even referenced you. I referenced your Sand River play. Because Sand River, by the way, is the single greatest map for the ELC. With the 90mm. Sand River is the single greatest. Sand River is so broken with the 90mm that even getting a first class on it is bad. Because the 90mm essentially completely dominates K-Line. And you almost always get an ace tank on this map. And I referenced your K-Line play because you also said that K-Line is important, which it is. You know, it's really important for light tanks. In general, just to win battles on it. So yeah, all my homies love Worlds. Hashtag no homo. Hashtag no fanboy. But it is what it is. So please don't go around thinking that I'm just senselessly shitting on people. All I'm here to do is teach us something about this tank. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, do make sure to give me some support and help me out of the early YouTube hell. It's really been a blast, and I'm really appreciative of all the views that I've been getting, all the new subs, you know, etc. pp. I think you guys get it. So yeah, I will see you guys around for part 2. Bye bye.